Hey guys, it's Surgeon here, and today we're going to be starting off this new series of quick tips with probably one of my favorite skills, which is farming. Now in this series, what I'm thinking of doing is it's just going to be probably about like 10-15 minute videos of me going over some things that I think are very important to know about certain topics. Obviously with me having 99 farming, I do like this skill a lot. I think it's a very good skill, and I think it's a skill that people should do. But there's some things in it that I didn't really know about until I started farming more and started reading more into it. And there's some things that I go over in this video that I talk to my friends, and a lot of them don't know these things. So I thought I'd make a video on some of these more complex things and more kind of like mechanical things behind farming. So that way when people go, like when casual players like myself go to train this skill up, they kind of have an idea and can maximize the amount of effort that they're putting into it. So that way they're not having to do double work. They can actually understand how farming works and how certain aspects of this work. Now, with this being the first video of its type in the Quick Tips series, please give me feedback on how you guys like it in the comment section. That way I know going forward what I can do to make this series better. And also, if you have suggestions for other quick tip videos you want to see me do, leave them in the comment section as well. I will also have bookmarks to every single tip we go over in this video in the comment section. Tip number 1. Logging out near your patch. For those of you who want to actually train farming consistently and want to get to a higher level, whether it's for elites or whether it's for maxing or whatever the case may be, you may find yourself just getting lazy when it comes to farming, and just it's not a difficult skill to train, but just the fact of actually going to the patch and doing it takes effort and takes like actual mental, you telling your brain to go and do it. Well, if you log yourself out when you're done playing for the day, if you go ahead and log yourself out near whatever patches you're going to start off in the morning, whether that's a tree patch, whether that's an herb patch, like myself, I always log myself out in front of the Trollheim patch because that's where I always started off my herb run. I would always log off there, so that way when I logged in the morning, I had no excuse to not do it. So that way I started off my day and already had a farm run going. It's a very simple thing to do. And also you can adapt this to any other skill as well. Like a lot of people use it for Slayer as well, where they'll get a task, gear up for their task, go to wherever their task is, and then log out there. You can use it for multiple skills. I just find that it helps the most with farming because of how you can only train this at certain times. So logging out next to your patch, so when you log in in the morning, you're good to go and start off your day right on a farm run. Tip number 2. This is probably one of my favorite things I ever discovered about farming, and I feel bad that I only discovered it at 98 farming, but I see a lot of people not doing this. And it's really glitching your animation when it comes to harvesting, whether herbs or allotments. So this is really handy when you do it for allotments, but the reason that you want to do this is that it will actually increase the speed at which you yield allotments and herbs. Like you will harvest things almost twice as fast by doing it this way. And so, as you can see when I do the allotments, the animation that you're looking for, because the normal animation whenever you go to harvest a watermelon or harvest any allotment is that your character shovels it out. Well, if you watch, my character will shovel and then do a second shovel really quick. And as soon as you see that second shovel, like I'll slow it down, as soon as you see that second shovel, stop clicking and you'll see that I harvest this. I think it's actually 66% faster than harvesting normal. You can actually increase this by 66% by just spam clicking it until you see that little animation, and then it will actually start increasing the harvest and it'll actually kind of glitch the animation, quote unquote. You can do the same thing with herbs. However, you're looking for something a little bit different. Your character it's a weird animation, so just watch the video for this, but it's a weird animation to where your character kind of stutters and then goes in and continues harvesting. So the normal harvesting animation looks like this. But the animation that you're looking for is this animation right here. As soon as you see that, stop clicking, and you'll actually start harvesting at 66% speed as well. So that's probably one of my favorite things that I ever learned about farming. This is really handy when you start doing watermelons and when you start doing any kind of allotment, because allotment patches can take a very long time. There's a lot of things to collect from there. If you can do this, you can actually decrease the amount of time you're spending on your herb runs and your farm runs in general, so that way you can maximize your time elsewhere. Also, on a side note, this does not work with fruit trees as shown by this. I can spam click it as much as I want, and it's not going to increase the yield at all compared to me doing it normally. You cannot do the same thing when it comes to getting compost from the compost bin either. You can increase the speed at which you take compost out of the bin, but you have to manually click every bucket onto the compost bin, and to be honest, I just can't be asked to do that. But if you want to do that, you want to be efficient, If you click the bucket and click on the compost bin, and you do that for every single bucket, you will actually increase your speed at which you fill up your compost by about 50%. Tip number 3. Should you buy tree seeds or should you buy saplings? Generally speaking, it is more efficient to buy seeds, turn them into saplings, and then plant those saplings. The reason for that is, as you can see in the background, I'm making about 84 or 86 U saplings right now. It's going to take me about a minute and a half to make all those. Now, the trick that I would do for this is that if you actually humidify when you have all your seedlings in your inventory, it will actually water them all for you, so you don't have to use watering cans, which actually slows you down tremendously. So if you're going to do this and you're actually going to make your seeds like I'd recommend, have 65 magic and use the humidify spell. It's going to speed you up a ton. Now if you look, I'll show you the price of what a sapling is and what a seed is. It's usually about a 1k difference at a minimum. At a bare minimum, there's about a 1k difference between saplings and seeds. So it took me about a minute and a half to do 86 U seeds. I'll have all this math on the screen. That saved me about 86k in a minute and a half. Now, let's just be generous and let's say 2 minutes. So in about 86, I saved 86k for 2 minutes. Well, if I multiply that by 30, you end up getting about 2.6 million GP that you would have spent if you did this for an hour, theoretically. So at a bare minimum, you're spending an extra 2.6 million to buy saplings over buying your own seeds and turning them into saplings for yourself. Now, from a time efficiency standpoint, yes, it makes more sense to buy saplings because, well, it's extra time you're not having to invest into making them into saplings. But from a cost efficiency standpoint, it makes much more sense to buy your tree seeds and turn them into saplings yourself. So, like I said, this is at a bare minimum, a 1k difference. As you saw by all the different tree seeds I showed you, it's generally about 1.5k difference between seeds and saplings. I do this as a money-making method, and so on average, it's about 1.5 to 2k. So you can actually double that at like a high point. I've seen it as high as a 3k difference between them. We're talking close to around 7 mil extra that you're going to spend if you did this for an hour. So unless you have some bizarre money-making method where you can, make 7 mil or 5 mil in an hour or 4 mil in an hour at a kind of a more relative normal range, it makes much more cost-efficient sense to go ahead and buy your seeds and turn them into saplings yourself. Tip number 4. Easily one of the most difficult things for me to explain about farming, but I'm going to do my best to try to illustrate this to you guys. So, this is where I'm going to talk about individual farming ticks. Now, everyone knows that things in this game grow on certain cycles. Herbs, it's 75 minutes. Allotments, it's like 40 minutes. Trees, it's anywhere from 300 to like 720, and then most fruit trees are around 900 or 1,000 minutes, I think. Everyone knows that. However, what you probably don't know about is your individual farming tick. And it's almost like a certain countdown every time you log in. And it's a countdown of 300 seconds or 5 minutes. So, what does that mean? Basically, there's this little timer going on your character whenever you log in. And once that timer goes from 300 seconds and hits 0, the game is going to check and see, are you in a growth cycle for whatever things you have planted? So it'll count down, and once it hits 0, it'll check and see, okay, you have trees, are you in a tree growth cycle? You have fruit trees, are you in a fruit tree cycle? Etc., etc. It'll go through and check all of those. Now, here's why I'm telling you about this. If you world hop, or if you log out, you will reset that countdown. So if you are at 4, if you have 5 seconds left on that timer, and then you world hop to go find a world, or you world hop just for whatever reason, and you log out, you will reset that 5 minutes. So you basically, in theory, wasted 4 minutes and 55 seconds. Now, I'm not asking you to have a 5-minute timer going on the background whenever you play this game. No, I don't do that. I don't really know anybody who does. The reason I'm telling you about this is to make you aware of it. So I've had a lot of people say, oh, I was farming and it's been 80 minutes now, and now my herbs aren't ready to be picked. What's up with that? This is why. Because I asked them, did you log out? Were you world hopping for bosses? And they're like, yeah. That's the reason why, is that you're resetting your growth cycle every time. Every time you world hop, you are resetting that timer. So, moral of the story is try to minimize the amount of times that you have to world hop and log out in general. And if you do it sparingly, especially if you're trying to train efficiently. Most people who are trying to train efficiently, you will pick a world and stay with that world. Now, I get it. Slayer worlds, like Slayer's spots will get credit. Bossing, it's crowded. You have to find certain worlds. But for just normal skilling in general, go to a world and just stay in that world. Don't hop. Don't do any of that. You'll minimize the amount of times that your growth cycle will reset. You can actually maximize the amount of times that you can actually harvest your goods. Again, for us casual players, we're trying to maximize the amount of time that we have, since we don't get much time to play in general. Alright, that's going to be it for our first quick tips video. I hope you guys found this information helpful. I hope it was easy to understand. If you guys have any questions about anything I said, please feel free to reach out to me in game. My name's right there on the screen. It's Surgeon. Reach out to me in the comments. I'm more than happy to help you all out. Some of the stuff I was going over is very difficult to explain in words, and I'd be more than willing to go into any detail or any more detail with any of you if you have questions on the sorts. If you guys have any suggestions that you want from this series, leave them in the comment section so that way I have some ideas to go and research and kind of practice out. If you want to see those when they come out, go ahead and subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like. Really appreciate it. With that all being said, y'all have a great night, have a great rest of your day, or a great morning, whatever time of day it is you're watching this. And for now, let's head to the end screen.